welcome to Posse Presents. Welcome back, I should say, because we were not here last week due to the snow. It was pretty crazy. My poor dogs have not seen the backyard in over a week, and I don't know when they will. Hopefully all of you are safe and had yourselves dug out in a timely fashion and have kept your animals safe. We are going to get more snow, so please continue to protect your animals and remember that, you know, if it's too cold for you out there, it's definitely too cold for them out there. Don't leave them outside. Don't let them freeze. There's just no excuse for it. Anyway, last time we were on, I talked about a dog named Mama. Now, I've since heard from Linda and Rachel, who run 20 Paws to Share, which is the organization that I mentioned rescued Coco and has Mama in their care. They're really very concerned for Mama and hoping that she will get a home sooner than later. There's Mama now. Zach's jumping me, but that's okay. Pictures are what I want. What we're doing is we're trying to step up the campaign to put Mama in a home. You know, she's in boarding right now, as I mentioned last time. And, you know, while boarding definitely can be an expense, that's not the concern. The concern is for Mama and her well-being, because while boarding generally is safety, it certainly isn't home. And Mama deserves nothing less than to be in a loving home. What I'm going to do, because once I had my conversation with Rachel from 20 Paws to Share, we talked about a strategy, you know, for trying to promote her. And while I have in the past included my copies of my show in my column, I've never read a column on the air, but that's what I'm about to do, because I think that above and beyond my rambling, when I write, it's a little bit more concise and I've got a little bit more information. So I am going to read for you, "It's Mama's turn to go home." The sad truth is that too often a mother dog rescued with her puppies is left behind to languish long after her babies are safely placed in loving homes. Such is the case for Mama, a beautiful, affectionate girl cared for by 20 Paws to Share, the organization responsible for rescuing Coco not so long ago. Mama was saved from an uncertain fate along with her 8 puppies. 4 of them did not survive, largely because of the rough beginning that they had. The remaining 4 were meticulously cared for by Mama with the help of Rachel, one of the rescue's founders. Mama was so devoted to her babies that her own health began to decline. While it was a difficult decision, without an available foster home for Mama or her puppies, Mama was placed in boarding so that she could have a chance to regain her strength. Her pups, by then of age for adoption, all found homes. 2 were fortunate enough to stay together. Months later, Mama is still in boarding with no takers. While Mama is a cuddler, loves people, is great with children, and very obedient, she is somewhat selective about other dogs. Having been attacked by a dog in the home she came from, Mama will understandably react if she feels threatened. She also does not care for cats. The ideal home for Mama is with someone possessing both experience and patience, who can manage her fears and guide Mama through her adjustment into a loving and safe environment. A foster home would be most welcome to better prepare Mama for her transition into a permanent situation. All I want is for Mama to be happy, safe, and loved, said Rachel in our recent conversation. Surely it is what Mama herself would ask for if she could. If you are that someone who can make Mama's wishes come true, please contact 20 Paws to Share without delay. Now, if you would like to contact 20 Paws to Share, their email address is 20pawsrescue@gmail.com. 20 Paws Rescue is spelled out twentypawsrescue@gmail.com. You can also visit their website at www.20pawsrescue.com. That's www.20pawsrescue.com. Their Facebook page is 20 Paws to Share, and Mama has her own page, Saving Mama. So there is her story in a little more detail, as it was told to me in person, over the phone, with one of the founders of 20 Paws to Share. It's like I said, an all-out campaign. Please share her. You can go to the Posse Presents page on Facebook and find the article. Put Mama's information up there again, her Facebook page, etc. The poor thing has spent at least the last 8 months in boarding, and it's just, like I said, it's safety, but it's not home. And she certainly deserves, before she starts to break down like some dogs do in a kennel environment, she deserves her chance. So that's all I'm asking from you folks tonight, as well as to keep in mind that, the local pounds still need adoptions. I mean, yes, Mama's in a situation where she's at least safe. In the local pounds, they're filling up. They've got dogs that have been sitting there. The snowstorm certainly hasn't been kind, because it's not people's priority to run out and adopt a dog when, they can't even get out their own front door. And boy, is that a sore spot, because I couldn't get out mine. But anyway, the animals in shelters face life or death on a regular basis. So really, please don't forget about them. And I just want to talk a little bit about fostering. As I mentioned with Mama, a foster home is always welcome for these animals. It's definitely the most life-saving step between dying in a shelter and being in a permanent home. And there's a shortage of foster homes. People tend to hesitate to take that step. But fostering, and we've talked about it before on the show, it saves lives in so many ways. It opens up a space in a shelter for another dog. It prevents animals from getting killed for a shelter running out of space. It is a more normal environment for an animal than a kennel or a cage, because it could be a cat or a dog that you foster. And, not a dog nor a cat should be in a cage and in that kind of environment for long, because they start to break down. Cats and dogs will stress out. Dogs will become defensive, and that makes them much less adoptable when they start to have that stress of, that lack of interaction and the feeling that they have to protect themselves from everything else around them. It's a harsh environment in a shelter. No matter how kind any of the staff may be and how much they try to dote on them, and some of them have volunteers that come in and walk them, it's not home. It's not a comfy couch. It's not constant interaction. It's not sleeping with their people at night. It's really like being in jail. You feel like they feel like they have to protect their space. They feel like they have to protect their food. They feel like they have to protect themselves. So a dog that goes into a shelter that may have been no issues when it went in, after a while will start to have a little cage aggression, will start to have food aggression, will start to have other dog aggression. And you really want to get them out of there before it gets to that, because, like I said, it just makes them less adoptable. No one's going to want to take a dog that isn't going to fit in their home and not get along with other dogs because it was kenneled up too long. So think about all of the big picture and see what you can do to help, because it's certainly, like I said, it's a lifesaver. Now, there are different ways that you can go about fostering, and a lot of people go either way. You can pull a dog from a pound yourself, and in that case, you would assume all of the liability and the responsibility. That dog is legally yours, and you are going to be, having to spay or neuter and feed it and vet it and care for it and do everything on your own. And like I said, some people are perfectly okay with that, depending on the situation. And others would rather have a safety net and don't want the responsibility solely on themselves. So in that case, and you still want to somehow get involved, rescue a pound dog, you can go to a shelter, you can go to a rescue rather, and ask them either of two things. If there's a dog and a pound that whose time is running out, and that dog is a fit in your home, you can ask a reputable rescue if they will pull that dog and you will foster it. In that case, everything falls on the rescue, and you don't have the liability and the responsibility. And if something doesn't work out, you're not stuck. Or you can just go to a reputable rescue and volunteer your services to foster. There's always a situation where these rescues are in desperate need for a foster. They can pull a dog if they have a place for it to go. So many rescues that I know are approached, there's this dog, there's that dog, can you help, without a place for an animal to go. The rescue can want to help all they want, but so many more now don't operate in a building. It's all a volunteer network. It's all volunteer foster homes, and without a place for that dog to go, there's no saving it. There's nothing that they can do. So that's where you guys come in, and that's where I beg you to think about getting involved. But really what's very, very critical in the fostering process is to bring a dog or a cat or any other animal in that's a fit for your home. Too many times, you see a foster situation not working out. What you have to remember is that when you're bringing an animal into your home, even on a temporary basis, it needs to be as good a fit as it would be if you were taking that dog into your home forever. It's got to get along with your other animals. It's got to get along with your children, with your family, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend. It's got to be as good a match for it to be a happy ending as if you were bringing that dog home forever or that cat home forever. Too many people take on a dog because it's urgent, and that's perfectly admirable that you want to save a dog's life, but you can't bite off more than you can chew, so to speak, and bring an unmanageable dog that's trying to eat your cat, or in the case of like Bonnie and Clyde, kill the bird, whatever. You have to manage that dog, and you have to be able to manage that dog, and it has to be a match. It has to be a fit. A rescue has no business sending you home with an animal that isn't going to work. When you do take an animal that doesn't fit, it puts the animal right back at risk. When you foster a dog, when you foster a cat, generally speaking, you're doing that until that animal finds a home, and it's an undetermined period of time. There are some situations where a foster is just needed, for a weekend until the permanent home is ready or a different foster home is ready. There's definitely situations where a temporary foster home or a shorter term foster home is required. There's somebody wants to adopt this dog, but they're moving, and it's going to be a few weeks before they're in the place that will allow the dog. So, maybe for 3 weeks until they move, until everything's all set. But on an average basis, it's a long-term commitment. It's an until this animal finds a home. So you have to be prepared for that. If you take in an animal and you're saying you're going to foster it, and then like all of a sudden you don't like the animal, you're tired of it, it's causing you some sort of stress factor at home, for you to turn around and say, oh no, I want this dog out of here, that puts that dog right back at risk. If there's no place for it to go, it's going to end up where? Back in a kill shelter, on the street, or worse. You have to think about everything in the big picture. And I keep saying that tonight. It's all about the big picture, because too many people, again, do things from their heart and don't use their head. You know, you have to think it through and be sure that it's the right thing. Make sure that you're taking in an animal that's going to fit in well. You know, every animal isn't going to be the perfect animal for your situation. It's just not. You know, there's a lot of people who go for the urgent dog, and, you know, yes, that's the right thing to do, but only if it's a fit. You know, maybe if you've got 4 or 5 dogs in a kill shelter and they're talking about killing for space, maybe you can work something out where you take in an animal that is a better fit for your home to spare the life of the one that's urgent. Sometimes, if it's a matter of room, there's bargaining space with that, you know. Other shelters, just really, it's about how much time the dog has spent there. But like I said, the common mistake people make is taking in a dog that doesn't fit into their home. And no matter how urgent it is, if you bring it home and something happens, and I've seen, you know, dogs are fight with other dogs. Dogs will kill cats, dogs will kill birds. If you take the wrong dog in, you're only putting that dog at risk. I mean, again, I go back to Bonnie and Clyde, where, you know, they were in a home for a hot second, she ate the bird, they were back in a kill shelter. And, you know, they sat there for a really long time and they didn't go anywhere until it was down to the wire. You know, there's a lot of dogs out there that are special needs. There's more and more of them. Old dogs. I saw an 18-year-old pug dumped the other day, which, you know, almost, it destroyed me. How do you give up on a dog after 18 years? I mean, it's the best you could do is put it in a high kill shelter. But there's a lot of these older dogs that just need someplace shorter term to live out the rest of their lives. And that's probably something you would want to do through a rescue, again, because of the liability and the vetting and all that. That'll probably come with an end-of-life situation. You know, there's also fosters that are needed for exotic animals. You know, a lot of times you end up with birds or lizards or reptiles or whatever have you, rabbits and guinea pigs that aren't standard fare for a shelter, that need a place to go. And if you have experience, you're valuable just for that, to save these animals from God only knows what will happen to them. So think about fostering. Think about, you know, whether you have the room in your home. You know, it's a perfect way to have an animal for a time and not have a long-term commitment. I mean, like I say, yes, you have to commit to the duration that it takes, and who knows how long that is. But if you're not sure you want to have a 14, 15-year commitment, it's perfect, and you're saving a life. You know, you can turn over every time an animal finds a home. You can take in another one. You end up being the stepping stone. And I know a lot of people think that, you know, their hearts are going to be broken and they can't handle giving up the pet, and, you know, yeah, it's hard. I can tell you for sure it's very hard. I have fostered and I have shed many a tear when it's been time to say goodbye, but it's the difference between life and death. The first cat I ever fostered, or the first foster I ever had, was a cat, and his name was Harry. And he came into the shelter one day, and, you know, again, you know, we were full, we didn't have room for cats. His eyes were a mess. Nobody knew what was wrong with him. I said, all right, you know what, I'll take him, I'll put him separate in a crate, we'll get him to the vet on Monday, because this was on a Saturday, we'll see where he stands. Well, my big boy Harry had both his eyes had entropion, which is where the eyelids turn in and his eyelashes were scratching his eyes, and he required 2 surgeries, not just one, because it was so bad. So I had Harry through 2 surgeries. He was the sweetest, most loving cat. And I asked myself, you know, how can I work it out where I can keep him? And it just wasn't going to happen. He was fine. My cat was fine. I didn't have them together, but I had a lot of things going on in my house, and I knew it wasn't the right thing to do for Harry to try to keep him. It wasn't the right thing to do for the other animals in my house to try to keep him. It nearly destroyed me when it came down to time for him to go up for adoption. And he was at the shelter, and I went to visit him every night because I didn't want him to think that I gave up on him. Spent just a few minutes bringing him a toy, bringing him a treat, loving on him, just so he would know that I didn't give up on him. And I cried, of course I did. Eventually thankfully it didn't take too long because he was that awesome, But eventually, a woman was interested in him, and I got to meet with her, and I got to talk to her, and I cried to her, and I said, are you going to be sure to love him and keep in touch with me? And, she was just so all about Harry that I was like, yeah, you know what? This is the best thing for him. So he went off happily ever after, and I kept in touch for a while, and it was a beautiful thing, and it broke my heart, but, it was Harry's best chance. I've had a rabbit, I've had cats, I've had kittens, I've had I had a cockatoo, which was probably the craziest experience I ever had because, he was just nuts. Okay, so Speedo just snuck in here, and I'm going to rat him out, and he kicked my camera, and now I'm going to ask him to fix it. Oh, he's trying. No, the other way. No, the other way. Oh, wait. See, I'm on a rant, and Speedo's trying to be sneaky, and it's just not working, so I'm going to rat him out.
And you know what I wanted to do?
I don't know, what did you want to do? You snuck in here. Oh, look at this. Oh, my. So now I can't even be mad that he moved my camera, can I? That is awesome. Now Zach's trying to fix me. Wow, look at that. That is so way cool. Thank you, Speedo. Speedo's hiding out in the hallway tonight because we got company. But yeah, that's to go with my Rolling Stone sweatshirt, which I'm hiding under my my scarf tonight, my peace scarf that I am going to get patches that has a heart and one that has a dog, and it's going to be for peace, love, and dogs, which is almost time for. But anyway, now I've got Zach in here, and Zach is going to start with me, but that's okay. And we were on a roll. Anyway, yeah. So fostering is the way to save lives. It's certainly something to consider, and if you need guidance, it's out there. You can always feel free to contact me because I'm sure that I could put you in contact somehow, some way with an animal that needs help and a rescue that'll help you help it. So really, if you want to email me, it's pawprints713@AOL.com. That's pawprints, PAWPRINTS 713@AOL.com. Or you can check me out on Facebook, Posse Presents, and just message me there. So I just want to mention, because I think, we're kind of running up on time. We're close, but not that close. Project Precious Rescue was on here a few weeks ago, and they were supposed to have an event in Stamford last weekend, but of course that got postponed because of the snow, so that is tonight, and you can check out the Project Precious Rescue page on Facebook if you're in that area and you want to join in. Like I said, that is tonight, so you can still get in on that. Also, tomorrow, Bully Breed Rescue is having an event at Best Friends in Norwalk, and you can go check them out there. Bully Breed Rescue does an awful lot for our pets, and those are two great causes, and you can definitely go check them out live and in person, and meet and greet and hobnob and perhaps adopt or foster, because I know that everybody's always looking for fosters. Trust me, it's the best way to save a life without the long-term heartache and commitment. A little bit of heartache when you have to say goodbye. It's all good because you know that you're the stepping stone for an animal to be alive still. It's nothing but good in the end. As much as it may hurt for a little while when you have to say goodbye. And most recently I fostered little Odie, and if you remember, I had him on the show with me at one point, and he was just, I still love him, and I'm fortunate enough, his new mama and his new family, we keep in touch, and I get pictures every now and then. So at least I get to know how he's doing, and if you're fortunate, you can keep in touch. Like I said, I kept in touch with Harry's people for a while. I started to talk about the cockatoo, the crazy cockatoo named Harley, who, at a certain age, birds are a little difficult and I'm not going to get into great detail, but they reach a certain maturity and they become very difficult, and we'll leave it at that. But yeah, like I was saying, cats, kittens, rabbit, the cockatoo, I've had parakeets, I've had lovebirds. If you've got specialized skills with certain animals, you're definitely you're a hot commodity when rescues are trying to save an animal. And even above and beyond that, I saw a post today commemorating the birth of some puppies that were saved. If you're someone who can take in a mother dog who is about to have puppies or has puppies like they did with Mama, you're a pretty special and rare find, because not everybody can do that. A mama dog shouldn't have her puppies in a shelter. It's just not the environment. Too many things can go wrong, and puppies don't thrive. A lot of them don't survive. So if you're someone who can deal with that, definitely get on board and do it. It's a short-term thing. It's a lot of work, of course it is, but you're definitely a hot commodity, and you can do a lot to save not just the life of one dog, but an entire litter. So anyway, that's all I've kind of got, and I'm just waiting for it to be time out. Please go to the Pound Posse Presents page and find Mama, and share her story and help us get her home. And I know that Rachel and Linda would be very grateful, because Mama is a very, very special dog. They love her a great deal, and it is painful to know that yes, they have her safe, but she's not in a home, and that's really the best that an animal deserves, is to be in a home, instead of in a cold facility where, like I said, she's alive and she's existing, but she's just, it's not the same. Anyway, there are my credits, so we know what it's time for me to do, and I'm going to say peace, love, and dogs. And if everything works out right, I might have a pretty interesting guest next week, but don't hold me to that, because life gets in the way. Anyway, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for letting me share Mama's story. And I'm going to say goodnight. Zach is waving to me from the booth like, shut up, woman. Anyway, thank you all. Stay safe in the snow. Keep your pets inside. Good night.